was the first black woman writer to inspire you?
Writing was my first love, and I just returned to it. And it gave me solace, it gave me peace, it gave me a home, it gave me a moment away with words where I could be normal and I could celebrate all that is me.
There was a part where she was speaking about cunt. So, hi man. Means.
Yo, I am.
You edit this out now.
Hi guys, I think I'm trying to vlog. I'm not sure. I am vlogging. Sharon and I are going to an event in town. We're going to Being Upiles book launch. We're going to Being Upiles book launch. So I'm about to drive to Sharon now. You're gonna have 2 other friends who are joining us, and yeah, that's basically it. We've never vlogged before. So this is new for us, but yeah, maybe it can be an actual episode. I don't know. Okay guys, thanks, bye. Oh my god. Plus days and actually it doesn't start.
So it's recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
Hey! Can you zoom out?
Yeah, that's the best.
Hey guys!
Hi guys!
So we're going to see Upile tonight, which is super exciting.
I'm just super excited. Black women writing
Yeah.
is legendary. It's life-changing. It's life-altering. I'm sitting with a black woman writer next to me.
I feel like Maya Angelou is smiling on her. What is
she saying, Chaz?
I think she's saying...
Sharon, tilt the camera forward.
Which way? That way?
Yeah, that's good.
I think she's saying this is a moment in history that she's proud of. And I do think Upile has taken it further in being unapologetic about writing about black women. And in ways where she's like, I am black and I am proud, you know, but also in ways where she talks a lot about generational trauma and the silence and of our mothers and what happens when home is an ocean away.
That reminds me of Kholeka Putuma as well. I feel like she really unravels and awakens the things that are actually buried about black life and puts them in words in ways that are you can digest them, but it makes sense and they actually take you back to your own history and ancient parts.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah, so this is the new line. We believe that Maya Angelou smiles when black women write. This is true. And Toni Morrison, surely.
Yeah, no, Tony's smiling wherever she is right now. How do I pause it?
Sorry.
And we are live.
I'll put the whirlwind on you, my girl.
No, the whirlwind is sitting here. Ayanda, how are you feeling?
I'm excited.
Yeah?
I'm excited.
What are you thinking about? Anything. I mean,
What am I thinking
we're
about?
not going to censor you here.
Okay, so today I was attending like a workshop planning thing. And I was thinking deeply about like language and emotions.
Oh, wow.
And how there are certain emotions that are embodied in the body that can't be translatable. And so how do we write about the embodiment of emotions? What does that mean? Like, so I was interviewing some of my thesis and they were talking about experience of sexual violence. And they said nothing but their body, like they show the emotion in their body. And so they're embodying the memory of that violence. And I don't know how to transcribe that. And so like those kind of emotions that like don't need to be spoken, especially in this class. Actually you see and you feel it, you don't hear it. And then how do you write about it? That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
What's your response to that, Sharon?
I mean, I've had a similar thought in where, so have you ever been writing something and you sort of feel like, yes, you're talking about pain, but the language isn't getting as close to the pain as you'd want it to. So I remember writing this line this week, the kind of pain that sits on your lungs and squeezes the air out, right?
Stop it!
And you kind of, even though that felt like it's getting close, it still doesn't embody what I imagine certain pains to feel like. But I try and find metaphors and imagery that can come close to what that feels like. I was listening to a song this week where this guy describes, shout out to Manana Music, so he describes the kind of pain that's like wearing a new shoe for the first time, and it's incredibly relatable. So in that moment you sort of laugh, but you also like, I know what you mean, because that's painful when the shoe's tight.
Or you thought your small toe on a corner.
Exactly.
You know exactly what that feels like.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think it's hard. What do you think?
You know what, the one poem,
The sun is amazing.
It's beautiful. Embodied a sense of what pain is. You know Maya Angelou's poem When Great Trees Fall?
I haven't read it. What are you thinking in relation to tonight?
What am I thinking in relation to tonight? You know what, so we are going with Messi's younger cousin, Shalom. Hi. That's Shasha. How do you feel about tonight?
I'm really excited.
What about it excites you?
I'm excited to be at my first book launch. It's such an experience.
It's a first launch. Oh, that's exciting. And she is quite like vibrant and young and dynamic, impressionable, I would say, in terms of like who she can become at this point. And I wanted her to meet Sharon and to meet being Upile, Sharon's great idea. And I was just thinking about all the ways in which we have the capacity to influence young people and almost like mold them to believe in more. And I'm really excited for what this night might mean in her own journey of becoming. Yeah, so I'm just so excited about all that potential, and I think it was so great that you suggested that she comes here, because I think when you're young there is so much you can do, and often you have the sense that you can do much, but I think with a little nudge from the right kinds of people and right kinds of environments, you can do so much more. So I'm really excited for that experience for her.
Whirlwind. I think in a similar vein, exactly what you were saying. It's incredible for me to know that she gets to be here, and Upile in a lot of ways, I hope for her, feels accessible. So her dreams feel very valid. Because I'm very much in the same mind space where I keep on thinking, man, I really hope the generation after us feels like they can do more because of us and feels a lot more free. So the same battles that we're go-wishing through, I'm hoping that they don't have to. Because I didn't see like a young writer speak at a book lounge until I was old. I didn't see that.
Who was the first black woman you knew wrote?
Like Namhlapi for me was
Oh wow.
Well, I read her work. Tina Mola Songololo was like a big thing like when I was in high school, and they seemed very accessible.
Hey, safely arrived. We're here. Yeah, let's run. We are now at the Upile. Oh, that's nice. How are you? Oh, good. So that's Sharon. That's what I was telling you about on the far right. And this is my friend Ayanda. We just bumped into my friend Kupa. This is a very good friend of ours from like freaking 11 years ago. Is it we meet? 11 years ago. We were all in Housecom with her and Bessie. And we are at the club. Let's bump into her. Hi.
I'm not sure what to say. Hence the random meeting.
But you guys should go and check out Cooper's blog. It's called FineLinenandClay.com.
Oh wow! Hi.
She does very like intimate deco with very like beautiful feels to it. You can find her on Instagram as well on FineLinenandClay. Bye. You need to give me a kiss on my cheek. Oh, there's the actual author.
I just wanted to know, why do you write such short and sharp poetry as opposed to dragging on and on and on? What are you conveying?
Sure. Oh wait, I'm showing that I can drag you in a line. That's not the real answer. I do it because I used to think that poetry had to rhyme and it had to be very specific and it had to be long in order for it to be considered poetry. And then I decided I wanted to see more of myself in different poems. Like, for example, if I write, I was in Cape Town on this day and that was my poem, maybe you wouldn't be able to picture it. But if I write 2 lines and leave the rest, the space for you to finish the story, then you can see yourself in that.
Hi, thank you, that was beautiful. You know, like what was the driving force for your writing, especially for Soft Magic?
So, I started writing Soft Magic when I was 17, and I just moved to New Mexico, and I was just missing blackness, I was missing home, I was missing not feeling like I was an oddity because I was constantly like the only black person and always the only African person in classes. And so writing was my first love, and I just returned to it. And it gave me solace, it gave me peace, it gave me a home, it gave me a moment away with words where I could be normal and I could celebrate all that is me and all the things that I was getting questions about. You know, I have a poem here that I didn't read today, but I talk about missing African food, missing, you know, being around my mom and my aunts and my sisters and just blackness. And so that's where Soft Magic started from. But then in 2015, when I sat down for a month and wrote Soft Magic, I was depressed, very depressed. I was very depressed, and I had recently graduated from college, top of my class. I was so excited, and I'd been promised all these things my whole life. Like, you're gonna go do this, you're gonna go do that, you're gonna be great. And here I am with all this fancy degree, and I couldn't get a job. And I was interning, I was working retail, I was working my butt off. And I was like, this surely isn't the life that I was promised. And let me create one for myself. So I sat down and I wrote Soft Magic and I returned to this writing thing. And I still didn't listen to myself. So I self-published, I didn't listen to myself. I went off to my master's program. And I was studying all these different things because growing up I'd been told you can't be a successful creative. Like, that's not possible in Malawi. You will not make money. So I was on the verge of going to law school. And then Andrews with Meal called and they were like, girl, we like your work. We're going to publish you and we're going to give you some money. So I went with that. But yeah, when I wrote Soft Magic fully in 2015, it was from such a dark place. And last night I was talking about that. Like, do we as writers always have to be in these dark spaces in order to be inspired? That's sad because now when I have deadlines, I think, oh my gosh, I have to make myself depressed. Let me start some drama, so I have some drama. I'm like, damn, but the way that girl looked at me, I don't like it. The biggest part of social media that I kind of find troubling sometimes is when people feel like they can share everything about their darkness and their sorrow with me, because that heaviness sometimes, being an empath, like, I feed off of that. Like, I get emotional too, and I want to walk you through it and help you through it, but I'm not, you know, a licensed anything, and I can't offer you that help. So beyond all social media drama, for me, this is real people who I interact with on the daily online, who have real problems and who want real solutions from me, and I don't always have the answer, so that's the scariest part for me. When I started writing like open verse, like blank verse poetry, I read a lot of Pablo Neruda, so definitely a fave. I love Yarsha Daily Word, I love Kholeka Putuma, I love Mary Oliver, I love Mary Oliver, recently passed away. Who else? Oh, there's a lot, but those are some of the people, and I hope you buy their book. Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks. So, I'm actually very nice. I'm such a bad girl. I wanted to ask, so I'm a writer as well. I did a review on your book, by the way. So, so I started writing as well because I got very depressed. So how do you now put yourself out there after the depression to remind yourself that you're allowed joy, you know? So I don't even know what I'm crying. I'm just, because there's so many people looking at me. Yeah. So how do you get your joy out after people knew your writing as darkness?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna give you a hug. But this dress is really hard to get. I'm wearing heels. I'll come later and give you a hug. like I mentioned earlier, I was afraid that if I experience joy and write about the good things and write from a good place, which is very difficult, it's difficult to write from a good place, that I would kind of slip into being irrelevant, because we kind of love this thing of forming a community around our trauma. And last night, again at this reading last night, people were saying some of my poems are forward-looking, so there is joy for us. And I wrote this recently that I think the very first step for us is accepting and believing that we are deserving of joy before we even start working on it, because we can't, you know. And so after I faced the depression and I wrote the book, and I just expect people to know that life is not easy, it's complicated. So in that moment I was at my saddest, tomorrow I might be at my happiest, and so forth. So when you look at writers, you should see them as these people who constantly grow, because I'm not the person who wrote Soft Magic today as I stand. I'm not the person who wrote Nectar. Maybe I will be that person later. Or maybe I'll never be that person again. But there's growth. You should allow yourself joy. And I feel with every bit in my body that I'm deserving of joy, and I will constantly work towards it. So I will not go back to a dark place for no one, because they think that a writer who's writing from a traumatic point of view is the best kind of writer. No, if that's it, then writing isn't for me anymore. Because I would love to talk about Black joy. To talk about it, and hopefully my work will grow with me and can reach the point where I can actually discuss joy fully and unpack that. The fact that for so long I didn't think I was deserving of it, but as I stand today, I am. So you know, you girl.
As a writer, I don't think we should strive towards a particular emotion, but maybe reality. And reality is all of those emotions constantly happening at all the time. So I can say I am feeling happy, but I'm happy understanding the sadness within me that still exists. You know?
That's good. Breaking a rainbow, building a nation. This is my take. I'm currently reading this book. The reason I think that I think reading young subject at this current time, I think it's almost like being awakening our minds. Because like Kholeka says, there's almost like a collective illusion of understanding our times, our history. Another really good book to read, Mr. Song of Smile, Always Another Country, in almost understanding how we came to this point of forgetting and realizing, man, like our history is just around the corner, like 1994 is just around the corner. And I think in some ways people are still grappling with getting it right, and we've assumed that it's right. And to kind of say, let's almost like uncover the sand and see what's going underneath and pull out the weeds on the roof, because it's not all right. You know what I'm saying? We are leaving.
And what do you think changed that made you think different?
I feel like
last year.
Okay, let me leave. I don't know what to say in the conversation. Right? There's the girls. Whom's the day? They are the girls. Oh, you guys don't know why Messi's not here. Messi is a doctor. My friend's a doctor. So she's on call tonight, so she couldn't join us. We are now leaving. Being Upile. It was so great. I actually think I like vlogging. Except when it gets awkward. I think I like you guys. Yeah, we are in Cape Town by night, and well, I have nothing to say, okay? I'm chatting jokes. I think that was cool. I think that was incredibly cool. Do you vlogger? Is there a line or a thought that stayed with you guys?
Oh, fight sadness. It's a necessary war. Because I feel that was spoken like it as is actively engaging in it. It's not a passive thing that you're experiencing.
Shares?
That whole idea around being deserving of joy, being deserving of joy. I like that.
Shares?
Kind of like the idea of like healing being found like within you. I think that was really important. Like I feel like that's so important that we don't look to other people to give us something that we can like find within ourselves. And how it's like really important. Like the greatest thing you can do for yourself is to like actually just work on yourself.
Oops. Love in the dark.
It was something about dear mother. It sounded like it's dedicated to her mother, and something about being risen by both rain and sunshine. And I don't know, obviously probably because I recently saw my mom, but I think it really just it hit her really, really peaceful. And just made me think of her even more and like appreciate so much of who she is and where she came from. So.
I really like the one where she said all the women in your bloodline are trying to speak to you, and I think that really resonated with me. The thought that like your existence is formed by the linkages of so many people before you, and in so many ways they actually really have a voice in you in terms of what you are already. Be soft, be kind, be gentle, like, and they've passed on all of those values and they exist with you and in you. Okay guys, it's too dark in the car and I don't think my friends want to do the labor of vlogging, so I think that's good night. Good night.